Welcome back to Universal Journey Talk, part two of episode 4.
you know.
Mhm.
And you got to think like with kids going to school or anyone. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't like going to school anyway. I
Yeah.
don't. I think a lot of people have a funky feeling just going to school. Period.
Mhm.
I can't always say, or rather, it's a Catholic
I
school
was
or it's a,
50-50.
wherever it is. I mean, sometimes it's just school. I mean,
Right,
sometimes
right, right,
that's not to knock whoever or say it. Sometimes it's just the fact you're going to school. I
right.
mean, it just that can be a bummer in itself mentally. But sometimes it's just when you got multiple people constantly sitting in chairs or in different in the same room. A lot of times, if no one's smudging or clearing that energy, sometimes it's kind of like you know it's not shocking that your energy can just get zapped like that. And that's one way you can just really look at things in a sense where it's not necessarily you or necessarily someone else per se. It's just as in just too many energies where just not enough clearing. And I like to say sometimes smudging could help with that.
Yeah. No, I definitely, I think that's all of those things create, like a positive start for your day and things like that. And, but I mean, I guess for some people, you know what, hey, the bottom line is there's all different types of levels of consciousness. There's different levels of your type of energy that you're putting out or that you're taking in. And I do understand that it's like, look, some people, I mean, and for whatever reasons, their lives are not doing well. You know what I mean? I mean, they could be financially fine, but they're just more miserable in whatever their situation is. And
Yeah.
so, they take that with them where they go and they project it, onto others, and that is a shame because I kind of feel like in any situation that you're in, there's almost always some way to find the positive out of it, to move forward and make and turn it into something good, instead of feeding off the negativity. But
Yeah.
but there are those dark souls out there that are really just, it's like, it's kind of like a little bit of that yin yang thing where it's like, for anyone that's trying to, have a higher consciousness, a positive frequencies, high vibration, you got to fight through all the ones that are going to try and take that away from you, and
And in
it's,
this world, I mean, this world is this giant bubble. There's so many aspects to look at it energetically. Like it's up and down like a wave. You know what I mean? And so many ways, like even like in school, kids can relatively happy, joyful, or anyone for that matter. A lot of times, just you could see the difference just in what are you eating. Like you figure like these kids are eating like cafeteria food and what's in it. This food is over processed, and that right there in itself can just change your mood just like that. Or like you ever notice, or not to like I don't eat pork, and I'm not saying against anyone who does. I used to, and I used to love it, but it is a lower vibrational creature, and so when you ingest that, it can take your energy and bring it to a lower vibration. That's why I think a lot of times, spiritually speaking, or you see a lot of religions don't eat pork, and it's not just because the fact, or they say it's unholy or unclean creature. But because me, it's like nothing against the pig. It's still, I mean, it's an animal. It's God's creature. I don't. There's nothing against the animal, but if you're consuming it, then it can bring your energy to a lower vibration, and that's just like from what you eat or whoever you're around. These things matter, and you're gonna feel these energies, at some point. And it's kind of, I think, the more you're aware, conscious of it, it helps. Just sometimes, just little subtle subtle things, subtle changes, to be a little more aware or more conscious of these little subtle things can make big differences, big changes, in your life. It has for me.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I definitely do think that. Well, I mean, I think as we've mentioned before, since we are all at our base made up of sound and resonance, and then just the frequencies change, and that creates matter and energy, and then we just become one or the other of those. We're still so once again, it's just all about our sound and our vibration. So when you are eating, like that's why they even say, it's pretty well known, like kosher, food is animals that were killed in a very humane way. They lived a very humane life. They didn't even know that it was coming when they were going to get killed. Everything about their lives was positive, so they have positive chemistry going throughout there as well as positive energy, all that stuff. So when they're killed, I even hear that if an animal knows it's about to get killed, it releases all these really bad endorphins and all this really bad stuff that goes right and saturates the meat, and that goes right out to whatever store that you're getting that doesn't care whether it's kosher or not, and then you're eating all that negative chemicals and all that stuff. So it definitely and then our bodies absorb what we're eating. And if you're eating, something that knew was going to die, was in terror and fear and all those other things, you're eating all that bad stuff. So it does have a real effect on you. That's why, you have to pay more money for organic food or for kosher food because of all the maintenance involved in the lifestyle that they give these animals to live, a healthy, and also a positive life, not one of these ones where, I mean, I've seen some, horrific, these slaughterhouses and how they treat these animals and stuff, and it's
These
really,
animals, fear. You're eating fear. Literally,
yeah,
you're eating fear.
and it's sad. It's really deplorable that humans can like treat animals like this. Because look, I feel that as humans, like I say to everyone, we got canines for a reason. I think that we were. Um, we are able to eat meat as well as vegetation. Clearly vegetation, but also meat because that we have canines. Now, there's a lot of stories that we can go into
Yeah,
further
because you got
about.
to think, because but our teeth, that there's always going to be debate because
I know.
our teeth relatively are flat.
Well,
You may have canines, and but ultimately you have more flat teeth than you do canine.
well, I know. So that's why I'm saying there's a whole lot more that we can go into that really is why people. I'm saying this is my perspective. You know what I mean? Whatever. And that in other words, like I think if you look at like a horse or something, or the ones that only eat vegetation, they have no canines at all. It's just it is straight all the way through. And then there's your lions and things where they have way more canine and ferocious type of teeth because that's what they need to do is be able to rip through meat and things like that and stuff. Where I think we're kind of like in the middle. That's why omnivores.
Well, there's some theories that we started out, which I mean, to me, can make a lot of sense. Maybe in the beginning, mankind was eating vegetation,
Right.
first.
Right.
But maybe through time, we started, because of eating meat, maybe started growing canine, teeth or whatever
Yeah.
to a degree.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. If why not go there? Yeah, I think that yeah, I think that's actually from what I've the research I've done and stuff. I think that's probably very correct. Which is that we were more total vegetation, and then maybe some other things. But then through the years, because of different adaptation that we had to evolve with, or maybe was even genetically programmed, which we can go into a whole other story about that, where there were alterations where now we are omnivores, but bottom line is
think about it this way, not to get too far into it, but like a lion or a tiger, when they eat meat, though, it's normal for them because their intestines are shorter. But human intestines, that's why like when they eat meat, a lot of times we have issues with our stomach because we have a hard time digesting it because our intestines are too long.
Yeah, yeah. No, you know what? And that is all perfectly true. Here's well to kind of go along with that. Here's something that I found kind of interesting. Okay, the closest to us are the apes. You know, as far as goes, you know, the closest type of animal. Um, from what I've heard, I guess it's pretty well known. I just didn't know this. Is that apes? You know, all types of apes and stuff. For the most part, they only eat vegetation, bananas, all that stuff, or whatever. But I didn't notice about every. I think they say about every 6 months, they have to eat a certain amount of meat to balance them out. Because if not, they fall short in certain like enzymes or certain whatever. So and likewise, I would think that since we are humans, we're also the closest to them. I agree. I think probably for the most part, we are supposed to only really be eating vegetation and other things like that. However, maybe there is some type of deficiency in us too that starts to happen where we need some form of meat, not all the time, but just here and
Right, right.
there to offset us,
I think like there's a I mean I think there's a science to everything,
Yeah.
and or not all humans are the same. Like in a sense where we have different dosha, and this go back to Ayurvedic teachings and ancient teachings that are about our bodies. We have three different main doshas, which are based off Vita, Vata, Kapha, which are based off the elements: fire, water, and air. So and there's many other factors. I'm just trying to break. I don't know the whole science. I'm just trying to give a general idea. So for some, depending on your dosha, for some humans, they can eat like a good amount of seafood. Others can't eat so much seafood. There's like within moderation, and so everything there's different things that come into play. You know what I mean? Like so it's really an understanding of really understanding your body and really what works for you. But again, we don't know like Western teachings for the most part don't really get into all that. This is not like something you learn in school really. In school, you are Western teachings just more fundamental things, but a lot of times what's good for one person doesn't mean it's going to work for the next. So it's really kind of really knowing your body
Yeah.
and I understand. Like I understand, you hear a lot of times, oh, I went vegan, but it wasn't working out. I was getting too skinny. I was malnourished. But a lot of times, you also got to understand you still have to eat the right things. It just eating an alkaline diet doesn't mean it's always gonna. You still have to know what kind of um, um, organic foods and what plants and are more suitable and higher in like nutrition
Right.
and things. It's just more about understanding what works and what doesn't work.
Right. Well, I mean, I think bottom line is that's a good point. We all are different. So yeah, that's probably true. Like you said, some people that they can't eat fish at all, and other people they can. So I don't think that there is right. There is no specific. No, this is the one thing that always works and will always it's always going to be different for each person.
Because I will say, and to add, like I know some people that are that are spiritually speaking that are just straight were straight vegan and for and just went on an alkaline diet, but actually had issues in a sense where um, they had to actually eat meat for whatever reason. Not I'm not saying McDonald's. I'm saying um, you know grass fed and or kosher, good at least good energetic foods and meats that actually help them heal in many ways, and they actually had to stay on that diet. So, like I said, it all depends on on what works with your body, but ultimately you'll see I think the common denominator is that either way, it's got to be good food,
Right.
organic,
Totally.
grass fed,
Yeah.
things are just um, um, higher level energetic foods that aren't lower vibration.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Thanks for watching this segment of the full episode to be posted Sunday afternoon. Much more to be discussed in the next part, so give this video a like, leave your comments for us to reply to in future episodes, and stay notified by hitting the subscribe button.